Snow slammed against the glass door as the wheelchair jerked to a halt at the restaurant entrance. Elena Morgan gritted her teeth, backed up, tried again. The sound of metal scraping the doorframe rang out sharp and cold, merging with the stares that poured her way. She was almost an hour late. Her coat still bore patches of snow, her hair tangled from the winter wind, her hands stiff from pushing the wheels across icy pavement. Elena drew a deep breath and whispered the familiar apology. "Sorry. I'm in a wheelchair." She didn't know that this moment would change everything. The community center was cold despite the hissing radiator. Elena Morgan watched 7-year-old Noah Hammond paint, his prosthetic leg angled awkwardly from his small chair. "The sky looks angry," Noah said, frowning at his blue blob. Elena wheeled to eye level with him. "Winter skies are angry sometimes. Want to try layering?" Outside, snow fell relentlessly. February in Portland, Maine meant ice, impassable sidewalks, and leaving an hour early for everything. For Elena, winter meant still arriving late, 4:15. She had 45 minutes to cross town for a blind date she'd been dreading. Rachel meant well setting it up, but dating required energy. Elena had stopped believing she possessed. When Noah's father arrived, Elena grabbed her bag and pushed into the brutal cold. The wind slapped her face. Snow stung exposed skin. Her hands ached thin gloves or no grip on the wheel rims. She'd learned these calculations: warmth versus control, dignity versus punctuality. The bus stop was 2 blocks away. Her wheel caught on ice. "You need help?" a passing man asked. "I'm fine, thank you." She wasn't fine, but help from strangers meant pity she couldn't bear. She freed her wheel and reached the stop in time to miss the bus. 15 more minutes in the cold. Elena texted Rachel. "Running behind. Can you tell him I'm sorry? Stop apologizing for existing. He'll wait." But Elena knew better. Everyone waited at first. Later came frustration, resentment, the gentle breakup phrased as kindness. The bus lift took 90 seconds. Elena said sorry 3 times before boarding. By 6:40, she reached the Old Port Restaurant Cobblestones, historic charm. No accessibility. The door was too narrow. The restaurant was one of those converted warehouses, all exposed brick and Edison bulbs and reclaimed wood. Beautiful, trendy, inaccessible. Elena had called ahead to confirm they had an entrance she could use. The hostess had assured her they did. But now, faced with the reality of a door that was perhaps 28 inches wide when her wheelchair measured 26 at its narrowest point, Elena understood that the hostess had been guessing. She tried anyway, angled her approach, pulled her elbows in tight, pushed forward with all her remaining strength. Metal scraped against a door frame. The sound was loud enough that conversations inside paused. Heads turned. Elena backed up. Tried again. Same result. Her face was burning now, and not from the cold. This was the nightmare scenario, the one she played out in her mind every time she agreed to go somewhere new. Trapped in a doorway while strangers watched, reduced to a problem to be solved, an obstacle in everyone else's evening. "Sorry," she said, to no one in particular. "I'm in a wheelchair," as if they couldn't see, as if she needed to explain why she was making everything difficult. "The door is the problem, not you." The voice came from behind her. Elena twisted to look. A man stood there, tall and broad-shouldered, wearing a canvas jacket dusted with snow. He had the kind of face that suggested he spent time outdoors, weathered skin, lines around his eyes, dark hair going gray at the temples. He looked to be in his early 40s. He was looking at Elena, but not the way most people looked at her. There was no pity in his expression, no discomfort. Just a straightforward assessment of the situation. "Daniel Brooks," he said. "I'm guessing you're Elena?" This was her date. The man who'd been waiting for almost an hour. "I'm so sorry," Elena started, but Daniel was already moving past her. pulling open the door and wedging his boot against it to hold it wide. "Let's get you out of the cold first," he said. "We can talk inside." He didn't offer to push her wheelchair, didn't grab the handles without asking, just held the door and waited. Elena pushed through. It was still tight, her knuckles scraped against the doorframe, but she made it. Inside, the restaurant was warm and crowded. A hostess approached with menus and an apologetic smile. "I'm so sorry about the door. We've been meaning to. A table, please," Daniel said, cutting off the excuse. Somewhere with room to maneuver. They ended up at a table near the back. Daniel moved chairs without being asked, creating space for Elena's wheelchair to pull up to the table properly. He did it efficiently, like someone who'd done this before, then sat down across from her. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Elena was trying to formulate another apology, a better one, something that would explain why she'd kept him waiting and why the evening had started so badly and why he should give her a chance despite all of it. But Daniel spoke first. "Rachel told me you do art therapy with kids," he said. "That must be rewarding work." It was such a normal conversation starter that Elena almost laughed. No mention of the weight, no awkward questions about her wheelchair. Just a regular first date question. "It is," she said carefully. "I work mostly with children who have disabilities. Physical, developmental, emotional. Art gives them a way to express things they can't put into words. My daughter would love that," Daniel said. "She's 6, draws on everything. Walls, furniture, herself." "You have a daughter?" "Emma. She's with my sister tonight." Daniel paused. "Her mother died 3 years ago. Cancer." The information landed between them like a stone dropping into water. Elena had been prepared for a lot of things on this date, but not grief that matched her own. "I'm sorry," she said. And this time the apology felt right. Not for existing, but for his loss. "Thank you." Daniel's voice was steady. "It's been hard, especially in winter. My wife loved winter. Skiing, ice skating, all of it. Emma asks about her more when it snows." Elena understood that particular pain, the way certain seasons could resurrect grief, make it fresh again. "I used to love winter too," she said quietly. Before. She didn't elaborate, didn't need to. Daniel just nodded, accepting what she'd offered without pushing for more. The waiter came. They ordered. The conversation continued, careful and genuine. Two people who'd both learned that life could break you, and that sometimes the broken pieces didn't fit back together the way they used to. Daniel told her about his work as a carpenter, about the small furniture business he ran from his garage, about learning to braid Emma's hair from tutorial videos, and still getting it wrong most days. Elena told him about her accident at 17, about the ski racing career that had ended before it really began, about choosing art therapy because she'd needed it herself once and wanted to give that gift to others. They didn't talk about her wheelchair. They didn't talk about his loneliness. They talked around these things, but the weight of them was there, understood without being named. When the check came, Daniel reached for it. "We can split," Elena said. "I know we can," Daniel replied. "But I'd like to pay, if that's all right." "That wasn't your fault." "No," he agreed. "But I should have checked before I suggested this place. Rachel gave me 3 options and I picked the one with the best reviews. Didn't think about accessibility. It was such a small thing, that acknowledgement. But it mattered. Most people either ignored the accessibility issue entirely or made it into such a big deal that it overshadowed everything else. Daniel had found the middle ground, recognizing the problem without making Elena responsible for it. "Next time," Elena said, "I'll pick the place." She hadn't meant to say it. Hadn't meant to assume there would be a next time. But Daniel smiled. "I'd like that." 3 days later, Daniel texted. "Emma wants to meet you. She's been drawing Daddy's new friend as a superhero." The photo showed a stick figure in a wheelchair with lightning bolts from the wheels. Meeting the child was serious. but Elena said yes. They met at Deering Oaks Park Saturday morning. Snow covered everything in sparkling white. "Why do you have wheels?" Emma asked immediately. "My legs don't work like yours," Elena explained. "So I use wheels, like a bike or scooter." "Can you go fast?" "Pretty fast." "Can I try?" Elena showed Emma how the wheelchair worked, how she propelled herself, braked, navigated. Emma asked a dozen mechanical questions, purely curious, no pity. Then, "Does it hurt?" "Not the wheelchair. But sometimes my back and shoulders hurt. Daddy's back hurts too from carrying wood. Maybe you should both get massages." Daniel laughed, surprised and genuine. They circled the park. Emma chattered about kindergarten, her friend Marcus, the cat she wanted. She decided Elena's wheelchair was a chariot and ran alongside narrating elaborate fantasies about ice castles and magic wheels. Elena relaxed. Emma had incorporated the wheelchair into play, not treated it as tragedy. When Emma ran ahead, Daniel moved closer. "Thank you for answering her questions, for not making her feel bad for being curious. Kids should be curious. Adults make it weird. My wife's illness was really visible at the end. People didn't know how to talk to Emma. They either avoided it or treated her like glass. It made everything harder. I'm sorry. Don't be. You're the first person who's treated her like a normal kid around something uncomfortable. That matters." Emma ran back, flushed with cold. "Can Elena come for hot chocolate, please?" Daniel looked at Elena, eyebrows raised. Elena smiled. "I'd love hot chocolate." A routine developed over the next month. Tuesday and Thursday evenings, Daniel picked Elena up after her sessions. Emma bundled in the back seat. They'd find dinner at the 3 genuinely accessible restaurants they'd discovered. Saturdays, weather permitting, they met at the park. Elena brought art supplies while Emma drew and the adults talked over shared coffee. Sundays meant dinner at Daniel's house. Elena taught him to make carbonara. He installed a ramp at his front door without asking. "You struggled with the steps," he said when she protested. Seemed easier to fix it. It was the most romantic gesture anyone had made for her. Elena apologized less. Not because obstacles disappeared, winter remained brutal, accessibility a daily challenge, but because Daniel didn't expect her apologies. Late buses meant warm drinks and conversation, not frustration. Inaccessible venues meant laughter and new plans, not blame. For the first time in years, Elena believed this could last. But at 3 a.m. one night, alone in her apartment, old fears surfaced. Daniel would tire of accommodating her. Emma would realize her father could do better. The logistics would overwhelm them. She was more work than she was worth. Elena typed a breakup message to Daniel. Didn't send it. Didn't delete it either. The email arrived late March. Margaret Chen, Elena's supervisor, knocked on her door. "The board approved our expansion grant. We want you as program director." Everything Elena had worked toward. Leadership. The chance to help more children. "There's significant travel required," Margaret continued. 2 or 3 trips monthly the first year. Site visits, training, conferences. Elena's stomach tightened. Travel meant unknown accessibility, being away from established routines, away from Daniel and Emma. "Take a week to think about it. You've earned this." That evening, Elena was supposed to pick up Emma from after-school care alone. Daniel had a late client meeting. Her first solo pickup. In the parking lot, her van's lift refused to deploy. Elena tried the controls repeatedly. Nothing. She'd been meaning to get it serviced for weeks. 20 minutes until pickup. She called Daniel voicemail. Called the school they closed at 6 sharp, union rules. Called accessible cab service, 45-minute wait. At 6:15, sitting in her car crying, Daniel called back. "Elena? Where's Emma? I couldn't get there. My lift broke and I couldn't, I'm sorry, Daniel. I'm so sorry." "It's okay. I'm heading there now." "It's not okay. This is exactly what I was afraid of. I can't be reliable." "Elena, stop. Breathe. This isn't a crisis. I can't do this. I got offered a promotion with travel I don't know if I can handle. I couldn't even pick up your daughter. I'm constantly making everything harder. And I'm not asking you to be perfect," Daniel interrupted. "I'm asking you to be here. That's all, but I wasn't here when you needed me. I need to get Emma. We'll talk later." The line went dead. 2 hours later, Daniel was at her apartment door. "Can I come in?" Elena backed up her wheelchair. Daniel entered, sat on her couch, looked tired. "Emma's with my sister. I told her you weren't feeling well." "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You've been pulling away for weeks, finding reasons why this won't work. What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I can see you preparing to leave before I can leave you." Daniel leaned forward. "Talk to me. I got offered program director. It requires a lot of travel. That's wonderful. It changes things. I'd be gone, unreliable." "Like tonight?" Daniel asked quietly. "Lifts break, cars break. People without disabilities fail pickups too. But that's not what this is about." "Then what?" "It's about you looking for an excuse to leave before I can leave you first." Elena flinched. The words hit like cold water. When Sarah got sick, Daniel said slowly, "People told us to stay positive, fight, never give up." But Sarah reached a point where she knew she was dying, and she was exhausted from pretending. She said the hardest part wasn't cancer, it was performing optimism for everyone else. He looked directly at Elena. "You're exhausted from performing. From pretending you're not waiting for me to leave. From trying to be perfect so I won't have an excuse." "Everyone leaves," Elena said, voice cracking. "The logistics get too complicated or they meet someone easier, and they always frame it as being for my own good. I'm not everyone, but you could be. Good people still leave when it gets hard. If I end it first, at least I'm in control." Daniel was quiet. Outside, snow fell again. "I can't promise I'll never leave," he finally said. "Not because of your wheelchair, but because life is uncertain. I learned with Sarah you don't always get forever." Tears started falling. "But I can promise this. I'm not going anywhere because things are complicated. I'm not going anywhere because you're imperfect. I'm here because I want to be. Because Emma lights up around you. Because you make me laugh. Because you're brilliant and patient, and you see the world in ways I never thought to look." He moved to sit at eye level with her wheelchair. "If you want to end this, that's your choice. But do it because you actually want to leave, not because you're scared I might leave first. And don't turn down that promotion because of me. We'll figure out logistics. What if we can't? Then we'll have tried." "That's better than not trying." Elena reached out. Daniel took her hand. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I know. I don't know how to stop." "You don't have to stop being scared. You just have to stay anyway." Elena took the promotion. She told Margaret yes on Monday morning in early April, feeling both terror and pride. She told Daniel that evening. He spun her around in celebration, laughing when she told him to mind his back. Emma made a congratulations card drowning in glitter. The first month was intense but manageable. Elena hired staff, developed training materials, reached out to partners. No travel yet, that would start in May. Time to prepare. Comfortable rhythms developed. Elena stayed at Daniel's most weekends. They cooked together while Emma did homework, watched movies until Emma fell asleep between them. Daniel would carry his daughter to bed. Then he and Elena would talk late into the night about their days, their hopes, the mundane details that built a shared life. It felt sustainable, real, like something that could last. Then, last Thursday in April, Daniel fell. The call came at 2:30. An unfamiliar number. "Is this Elena Morgan? Maine Medical Center. We have Daniel Brooks here. You're listed as his emergency contact." Elena's blood went cold. "What happened?" "Construction site accident. Mr. Brooks fell from scaffolding. He's stable, but we need you here." Elena left work immediately, grabbed a ride share. navigated hospital corridors to the emergency department. Daniel was in a curtained area, right leg immobilized, face pale with pain. When he saw Elena, he tried to smile. "Hey." "This is embarrassing." "What happened?" "Stupid accident. Carrying lumber up to second floor, scaffolding shifted. Fell about 12 feet. He paused. Broke my femur, possibly my ankle. Waiting on x-rays. "Oh God, Daniel. I'm okay, mostly." "But Emma." His voice tightened. "Emma's at school. My sister can't get her until 5. And I'll get her," Elena said immediately. "Don't worry about Emma. I'll pick her up and stay with her until we know more. Are you sure?" "I know the lift was. I got it fixed last week. I'll handle it. Just focus on getting better." Relief flooded Daniel's face. "Thank you." A surgeon entered, and Elena stepped back. She texted Daniel's sister with updates, then left for Emma's school. Pickup went smoothly. Emma ran out chattering, and Elena waited until they were in the car to explain. "Your dad had an accident at work. He fell and hurt his leg. He's at the hospital, but he's going to be okay." Emma went very still. "Is he going to die?" "No, sweetie. No. He broke his leg, that's all. It's going to heal. Mommy went to the hospital too. And she didn't come home." Elena's heart broke. She unbuckled Emma and pulled her close across the console. "Your dad is coming home," she said firmly. "I promise. This is different. He's going to need help for a while, but he's going to be fine." Emma nodded but trembled. They went to the hospital together. Emma clutched Elena's hand through the corridors, her usual energy subdued. Daniel was out of surgery when they arrived. The surgeon had placed a rod in his femur crutches for at least 6 weeks, then physical therapy. The ankle was badly sprained, but not broken. Emma burst into tears when she saw him. Daniel pulled her onto the bed carefully and held her while she cried. Elena stood back, feeling like an intruder. Then Daniel looked up. "Elena, come here." She wheeled closer. "You stayed," he said simply. "Of course I stayed. Even though you had to take care of Emma. Even though this is complicated and you're stressed about work." "Daniel, I didn't fall in love with how you walk," Daniel said, loud enough that Emma looked up, confused. "I fell in love with who you are. And who you are is someone who shows up, who stays." Elena felt tears start. "You can't say you're in love with me for the first time while you're on pain medication in a hospital bed. Why not?" "It's true." Daniel smiled through exhaustion. "I love you, Elena Morgan, wheelchair and all." Emma looked between them. "Are you gonna get married?" "Emma," Daniel said, embarrassed, but Elena laughed through tears. "Maybe someday." If your dad asks nicely, the next 6 weeks redefined everything Elena thought she knew about strength. Daniel came home from the hospital with strict orders to keep weight off his right leg. The crutches were awkward. He was used to being the helper, not the one needing help. Elena watched him struggle with the frustration of not being able to carry Emma, to cook standing up, to do the physical labor that defined him. "This is temporary," she reminded him during particularly difficult moments. "You'll heal, I know. But I hate being useless." "You're not useless. You're injured. There's a difference." She understood now why he'd been so patient with her accessibility needs, so matter-of-fact about accommodations. He knew what it felt like when your body limited you, even if his limitation was temporary. Emma adapted with the resilience of childhood. She'd climb into bed with Daniel evenings and draw pictures of his robot leg. She helped Elena cook, standing on a stool, narrating every step like a cooking show host. Elena's travel phase began right when Daniel was most immobile. She felt torn between staying to help and proving herself in her new role. "Go," Daniel told her before her first trip. "Seriously. My sister's 5 minutes away. Emma's fine. I'm healing. This is your career. Don't sacrifice it." So Elena went. She traveled to Massachusetts and New Hampshire, delivered workshops, met with funders. The travel was challenging rental cars with barely functional hand controls, hotels claiming accessibility but failing, days when her body ached from navigating unfamiliar environments. But she was brilliant at the work. The programs she developed were innovative. The staff she trained were enthusiastic. The children in partner programs thrived. She called Daniel every night from hotel rooms. He told her about Emma's art, his physical therapy victories, small triumphs like reaching the bathroom without crutches. They were building something real together. Not a fairy tale where everything was easy, but something honest, something that involved logistics and compromise, and both of them being strong in different ways at different times. When Elena came home from her second week-long trip in mid-June, Daniel met her at the door, still using one crutch, but standing on his own. "You're walking." "Almost." Daniel grinned. "Doctor says I can ditch the crutches next week if therapy continues well." Emma ran from the kitchen. "Elena, Daddy made pasta, and it's only a little burned." That night, after Emma slept, Elena and Daniel sat on his back deck. Finally warm, the brutal winter truly over. Stars visible above the trees. "I've been thinking," Daniel said carefully, "about the future." Elena's stomach tightened. "Okay, Emma starts first grade in September. I was thinking if you wanted, maybe you could move in. You're here most of the time anyway. With your travel schedule, it would be easier to have a home base that isn't an empty apartment." "Move in," Elena repeated. "Only if you want to. No pressure." "But I built a ramp, the downstairs bathroom is accessible, and I could convert the office to your bedroom if you wanted space, or—" Elena kissed him. When she pulled back, "Yes, I'll move in. Yes, I want to build a life with you and Emma. Yes, to all of it." Daniel kissed her back, and Elena felt something settle in her chest. Not the absence of fear she'd probably always carry some, but the presence of something stronger. Hope. Belonging. Home. 8 months later, February returned. Another winter. Another year. Elena stood at the bedroom window, watching snow fall, the same snow that had once meant isolation, struggle, apology. Now it looked different, softer somehow. It was the anniversary of their first date. Daniel had wanted to return to that same restaurant where everything began, but Elena had a different idea. Over the past months, she'd worked with the restaurant management, helped them install a wider door, proper accessibility features, ramp access. The owners had been grateful. Turned out they'd been losing business by being inaccessible, and Elena's consulting had helped them fix it properly. They'd even hired her for other recommendations. Tonight, they'd gone back. Elena had pushed through that door without scraping her wheels, without catching metal on doorframe, without apologies. Progress came in victories, both small and large. The moving in had happened gradually over summer and fall. Her books filled his shelves. Her art supplies took over the sunroom. Her wheelchair tracks marked paths through the house like belonging. Emma had helped decorate Elena's corner of the bedroom, insisting on fairy lights and a small painting. She'd made 3 stick figures holding hands, one in a wheelchair with lightning bolts. "That's us," Emma had explained seriously. Our family. The words had made Elena cry. Work had settled into a sustainable rhythm. The travel had decreased as promised after the intensive first year. Her programs were thriving across 5 states now. She'd won a grant award for innovative disability arts programming. Margaret had said she was the best hire they'd ever made. Elena had learned to accept compliments without deflecting, to take up space without apologizing, to ask for help when she needed it, and recognize that needing help didn't make her weak. Daniel had healed completely, though he complained about his knee in cold weather now. They'd laughed about both being broken in different ways, her permanently, him periodically. Two imperfect people building an imperfect life that somehow felt exactly right. Behind her in bed, Daniel stirred. "Come back here. It's cold." Elena wheeled to the bed, transferred onto the mattress. Daniel pulled her close, his warmth surrounding her. She fit against him now in a way that felt natural, practiced, home. "Happy anniversary," he murmured into her hair. "Happy anniversary. You know what Emma asked me today?" "What?" "When we're getting married." Apparently she's been planning the wedding for months. She has a whole binder. Color-coded tabs and everything. Elena laughed, the sound bubbling up genuine and surprised. "Of course she does. So." Daniel shifted, reaching for something on his nightstand. "I figured I should probably make her planning official." He held out a small velvet box. Elena's breath caught. Her heart hammered. "Daniel, I know it's only been a year," he said quickly. "I know we probably should wait longer by normal standards. But I've already lost someone I love, and it taught me not to wait for perfect timing. This is the moment we have, and I want to spend all my moments with you. The winter ones and summer ones, the hard days and easy days. All of them." Elena opened the box with shaking hands. The ring inside was simple, a thin band with small diamonds that caught the light. Exactly right. Not too big, not too showy, perfect for hands that needed to grip wheelchair rims. He'd thought of everything. "Yes," she said, voice breaking. "Absolutely yes." Daniel slipped the ring on her finger, and they lay there in the dark. In the house they shared. While Emma slept down the hall, probably dreaming of her color-coded wedding binder, while snow fell outside, soft and relentless and no longer threatening. Winter had been Elena's hardest season for so long. The cold that made everything ache. The ice that made sidewalks treacherous. The way it complicated every simple task into an ordeal. The darkness that came too early and stayed too late. But lying there with Daniel, wearing his ring, she realized winter had also given her everything that mattered. It had given her the night they met, struggling through a door too narrow. Daniel's first words that had changed everything. "The door is the problem. Not you." It had given her the park meetings where Emma learned to see wheelchairs as chariots. The hot chocolate afternoons. The slow building of trust. It had given her Daniel's broken leg and the realization that everyone needs help sometimes. That giving care and receiving it were two sides of the same love. It had taught her that strength wasn't about never falling, it was about staying. About showing up. About letting people see you struggle and trusting they wouldn't leave. She'd spent years apologizing for existing, for taking up space, for making things complicated, for needing accommodations, for being different. She was done apologizing. "What are you thinking about?" Daniel asked, his voice sleep-rough. "That I used to hate winter," Elena said quietly. "It was always the hardest season. Everything hurt more. Everything took longer. I felt so alone. And now?" Elena turned to look at him in the dim light from the window. Snow still falling. Their future still unwritten. But their present solid and warm and real. "Now winter brought me home." Daniel kissed her forehead. Outside, the snow continued its quiet falling. Inside, Elena was warm. The winter was no longer cold, and tomorrow she'd wake up in a house where she belonged, wearing a ring that promised forever, ready to tell Emma that yes, she could start planning the wedding in earnest. But tonight, she just lay in the dark with Daniel. Two broken people who'd found each other in the coldest season, who'd learned that love wasn't about perfection, it was about staying when things got hard, about seeing each other fully and choosing each other anyway. The door had been the problem, not her, but Daniel had held it open. And Elena had finally wheeled through,